This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl. Hello, buddy.
Hello. We you made it through your birthday.
You made it through my
Yes,
birthday.
yes. That
Every
was a
day's my
fun.
birthday. You've been
Yes, it
making it
is.
through for a while now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, it's been a major catastrophe of a week, other than at my house, because just what do you estimate the number of earthquakes in the last week in the
Oh,
USA?
well, I know there was a bunch in Idaho I was reading about. Really weird ones. But I have no idea. Well, I really don't know the numbers.
317.
Whoa.
76 in Idaho, couple of dozen in Alaska, even Texas. Not to mention widespread flooding in Kentucky and Arkansas, Texas with snowball sized hail. And now let's just cut FEMA because there's ass clowns in the White House. And you have to realize that even when the best buddy, that muskrat, claims the bill, the big beautiful bill that dumper Trump wants to pass, Elon Musk just said it's a disgusting abomination.
Is this all
It ain't
theater,
gonna
or
pass.
does he
It ain't
actually
gonna
believe
pass.
that?
It ain't gonna. Rand Paul and various others are gonna just jump off that cliff. They're not gonna do it.
Well, uh,
That's the happy news of the
it's
week.
happening. Well, do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea? I definitely think it might be a bad one. They think, well, they pretty much know that they can engineers of biological engineers of they say they can actually eradicate mosquitoes, and it's been this thing of they're calling it the yeah,
What
it's
our
an
bats
agency.
can eat then.
Well, that's the thing. It's target malaria, and they're like, oh, all these people die of malaria and dengue fever every year, and we should get rid of them. But then it's like, I think we're playing with fire with that one, like bats and just all the things that eat those. And then don't we actually want some disease like that? I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I
Well,
think we're.
two
I don't know what
Chinese
we're doing.
nationals were just caught smuggling in very deadly fungal virus into the U.S. I just saw a clip
Whoa,
of it. I didn't hear what it was. It just so I don't know. I mean,
whoa.
just cut all the funding so we can cure nothing in the future, and then we will be like that idiotic Republican female Congress cunt who said, "Well, we're all gonna die. So what's the problem with cutting Medicare and Medicaid? We're all gonna die."
Who said that?
Some fucking Republican idiot.
Oh my God.
Joni
No,
Ernst.
She's
Yeah.
gonna lose to a redneck hillbilly who actually has the right idea in mind, so she's going down anyway. They're all fucking cunts.
so in the National Netherlands National Museum, there's a 200-year-old condom on display
I
now.
did see something about that. Please fill me in.
No pun intended. So, there's like artwork on it, and of like a nun masturbating with three clergymen.
What?
Anyhow, yeah. That's actually on the actual condom itself.
Well, come on. I mean, there's a lot of sex going on in the Catholic Church.
Yes.
Always has been.
So yeah, that's on display. It's kind of a. I think there's like the history of birth control or something going on. But yes.
Yeah,
Um,
join the clergy because since they're only touching young boys, that's a great form of birth control, right?
would you ever get? Some people get LASIK surgery, and
What kind of LASIK on the eyes?
yeah. They don't.
Nah, I don't think so.
There's some pretty bad failure rates. Like things can go really bad with
I
those things.
mean, I just buy, a 5 pack of glasses at a Chinese 99-cent store and use it for reading at night when it goes a little dim. I'm fine, but I've got good eyesight.
Yeah. There's a lot of new reports on that. Not it's a really risky. So
Etna has exploded.
what exploded?
Etna, the volcano.
Oh, in Catania. Okay.
It's gone wild. So we got volcanoes, we got
I,
floods, we've got hail the size of snowballs, and we got earthquakes. And hello,
I was in Catania once when that thing was active. It was at night. It was in the summer. This kind of like orange glow coming out of this thing.
unbelievable.
It would be like black sand beach. You do like a midnight swim with that orange glow volcano in the background. Kind of very scenic. Um, have you heard? Well, Scott Gibb. It's actually a Scotsman, but he lives in Texas. This has gone viral. They call her the bagpipe Karen.
I have not.
Yeah. So Scott would just go outside and practice these bagpipes, and she was
In
the area
Texas.
in Texas. She hated it, and then and it was all on
Don't
video.
Karens hate everything?
Yeah. So she
They
went
hate
nuts.
themselves and they project it onto other people.
She attacked like Scott's wife and stuff. He's like, "You better stop practicing." Like, I'm going in a field. I mean, all that stuff, but it's went viral. She's like really nuts, and she's now known as the bagpipe Karen. I think a Karen involving an instrument attack is much funnier than like what was the original Karen, like mad about a guy's dog or something. I can't remember what exactly
You
happened.
know, when the clown in charge has revenge fantasies about everyone that ever utters a slight about him, you can imagine the trickle down theory is working very grandly as far as violence goes and stupidity.
Well,
Here we go.
Chuck Todd from NBC, who I think he has Meet the Press or whatever, one of those. He Yep, he just criticized Trump, and then Trump, really petty, goes after him.
Well, I
And
mean, look, Lawrence
no,
O'Donnell on MSNBC really goes after Trump, and he doesn't give a shit if Trump comes after him.
well,
He
Chuck
calls it
Todd's
Trump stupidity.
his tires were slashed. His tires were slashed. So someone like hunted him down, and
It's already headed in fucking
yeah,
Elon Musk got a black eye from his 5-year-old. The thought was
is that
maybe
true?
all of America actually punched him in the eye psychically, like to fucking put a fist up his, well, whatever.
Whoa.
Hello.
Well, yeah, well, he's on all types of drugs. He probably wouldn't even feel it.
Probably wouldn't even feel it. That's what happens. Anyway, what
Anyhow,
else? Not
well,
much.
not much. You had your birthday and stuff, and
We got shit happening, and got shows coming up, and that's what
yes.
day it is.
Well, by the time this goes up, I'll have a show that would have already happened, which is Koichi Makagami, the avant-garde Japanese masters in town. I'm performing with him on Thursday, but we got other stuff coming up.
That'll be already over with by the time this goes up.
Yes, it will be. Anyhow, well, it was great seeing you the other night, and
absolutely. And we got some work to do on our upcoming tour at the end.
Yes,
of,
I got a lot of work to do.
The end of June or whenever it is.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Doing well. All right.
Yes.
We'll talk tomorrow.
We will. And this is the Lydia and Spin
with Tim Holland
and Lydia Lunch.
And Simon Slater in the background, twisting all the knobs that need be twisted. This is the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl. And our guest today is Steve Doughton, writer, director from Portland, and has done many videos. And his latest release is Earthlings, based on The Suckling Pig by Jon Raymond. Tom Haynes being one of the executive producers. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, Todd. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
It was Dave Markey that recommended you, who we had on a couple of weeks ago for his latest, The Bill Bartell, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I love Dave and the Bill Bartell documentary. I love that. And yeah.
And here we are. We call it the connective tissue because we all come around to each other eventually, which is the fun of doing the 308th episode of this podcast. We're very excited.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have films that were at the Vianelli, permanent collection at MoMA, Anthology Film Archives. You've done music videos, and you work with one of my favorite absolute artists of all times, David Wojnarowicz. I mean,
oh my God, David. Yeah.
One of my absolute heroes. And Tim and I did a recording where I read from the Waterfront Journals. I'm going to send that to you when we're done here. Absolute genius. But Iggy Pop, Pavement, Alan Vega. And, now I've been on tour for many years doing the music of Suicide and Alan Vega. They were my first friends in New York. I just got back from Europe doing that track, which is the easiest gig I've ever had.
I knew you were doing that, and it's like, that's just so cool. Alan was working with Alan was just it was great because he was very personable. It was like, oh, really getting to know this guy. I mean, we didn't spend much time together. I just shot I did a lot of camera work. Well, not a lot, but I did camera work for, some filmmakers and directors and whatnot. And so that's how I worked with Iggy. I didn't never direct.
What did you do with Iggy?
We made a Dan Rose was the director who did the Alan Vega video, which was on the Rollins label. That was post Suicide mid 90s thing.
Tell me about the Iggy video, who I just hear was carted off in a casket at one of his last shows in the UK, which I think is about fucking time, actually, quite frankly.
He's having a hard time getting around, but God, God bless him or whatever. I mean,
well, he could have stopped after the first 3 albums. They were amazing, but I'll just leave it at that. But I did record a version of The Passenger once, but go ahead. What video or what was that about?
So Dan Rose, who did the Alan Vega video, a really, really interesting director. He made a really cool feature film, which Iggy was in. And
what was that called?
That's called Wayne County Ramblin'. And it's got oh man, I'm so bad with names. This sucks.
Wayne County Ramblin', is it about Wayne County, the performer, or Wayne County, the area?
It's about the area.
Okay, because there's a few Wayne counties out there.
Yeah, there are. Iggy Pop plays a grandfather, and
as he should.
Yeah, it's got members of the Gories in it.
When did this come out?
Oh God.
You're worse than I am. It is early onslaught dementia. Here we go. All right.
I'm really bad. I don't remember when it came out, but I remember filming part of it with Dan. And,
where was that done? Where was that filmed?
We were filming down in Memphis, and Iggy was down there, and we were also filming in Memphis on an unrelated project for Iggy, for him to. We made a short, like a 15-minute film that he projected on stage for his encore.
Oh, cool.
This was 1996. I don't remember the tour, but
all right. So here's another connective tissue between you and me. Speaking of Memphis, our booking agent, Joey Killingsworth, the best name ever, has a great band called the George Jonestown Massacre, and he does tribute albums, and he's doing one to Iggy, and I just covered Johanna from Kill City, which is one of my favorite songs.
Oh yeah, that's
so there we go. Oh, amazing. There we go.
Yeah.
And Joey Killingsworth is in Memphis.
That is a good name.
Yeah, it's actually Billy Joe Killingsworth.
Yes.
Father Bojack Killingsworth.
Wow.
So, that's how was Iggy to work with? I guess he's a pretty cool dude, huh?
Iggy was great. He does not, in my experience, I've filmed him twice. He hates camera crews, and he lets you know immediately that he's not into production and the people who do that kind of stuff. So it was like, all right, am I going to win?
Thanks, pal. Thanks, pal.
I'm shooting this thing, and I've got a little small crew, but we're there, and it's like, he's kind of lets you know what he needs, what he won't do, and that he doesn't want to get hurt. And that's all fair. And he says, if this goes well, then we'll have a good time. And after we filmed, he sat down and we drank.
It went well.
Drank a beer, so it must have gone well. He told stories, and I told a story. I told him a story about seeing him on stage when they pulled the plug on him. I'm halfway through the story, and I'm like, oh, this is not the fucking story to be telling him.
Yes, it is, though. Where was that? Wait, where did that happen?
That was in Portland. He's like,
years and years ago.
Early 80s, and it was before I moved to New York. I was still in art school.
Well, he had some suckage during the 80s and 90s, let's face it. But I mean, pulling a plug on Iggy, they
pulled the plug on him, and he was like, fuck you, I still have a drummer. And so he just sat there screaming with his drummer banging away on the drums. And I'm telling the story, and I'm thinking, this isn't maybe landing well, but it was the only, it was just what came to mind. And, I'm not always, what's the word? Appropriate. I guess no filter. My filters aren't good.
You don't have to.
You're in good company.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I hope so.
I'm politically erect. I would not say correct or incorrect. I'm just politically erect. Trust me on that one.
Sounds good. I believe you.
Well,
somebody needs to be.
Somebody needs. I love how you mention your debut feature as a cross between My Dinner with Andre meets The Deadliest Catch. Now, I loved The Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
And because I like anything that shows men doing the stupidest things I would never do that's dangerous and they might die, like Alone. I love that. Ice Road Truckers. I'm big on that just to offset my forensic fetish. But and that was called Bowie. Was it Bowie or Boy, your first feature?
my
It
British
smelled like
friends.
buoy.
It is. It's spelled, I pronounce it buoy, but my British friends are always correcting me. They're like, what does a buoy do? What is a buoy? And it's buoyant. So they tell me I'm wrong.
But
Yeah.
that, because I didn't see that, and I really want to, because mainly it's a phone conversation. Correct?
The whole thing is a phone call. Yeah.
I mean, my favorite films are often three people or less, which would mean I'm not porno anymore, but it could have been in the past.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of it just being a phone conversation, and that was done quite a while ago, though. Then,
yeah, it was. It was, and it was the same actor, Tina, who was in Earthlings.
okay, so then we're coming up to that. So how did Earthlings happen? Because the production values are really good. It's an independent film.
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, it's about, as we are facing constantly in this day and age, kind of classism, racism, maybe a little bit of sexism, and not so much in a political, but in a personal level, and the way that white men or men in general can be total cunts to other men who they think are other or less than. It's gentle. It's not like a Michael Haneke film. It's more like what day-to-day reality is for some people who cross-collateralize their classes for some bizarre reason.
Yeah.
An apt description.
I think so. I like to say like, well, this is funny that I say, yeah, no one's lives are changed from this night. But then I read the press kit, and one of the things in there is like, oh, their lives are forever changed by this night. So I'm like, oh, the press kit's full of shit. So don't pay attention to that.
But how did first of all, the production looks great. It looks good. The acting is great. I mean, other than James LaGrosse, I didn't know any of the people in there. Maybe I just don't. But how did that come about, and why did you want to cover that topic? And Todd Haynes. I mean, again, you worked with a lot of people in Portland. That's your contingent. So tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Well, actually, I know Todd through connections in New York because I was there for so long. I feel more like a New Yorker than a Portlander, even though I was born here. But so Jon Raymond, who wrote it, is a friend of mine, and
it's called The Suckling Pig, the story that it's based on.
Yeah, and he and I were talking on the phone, and he said, "Oh, I've got this idea for this film," and he said, "It's this rich guy who hires some Mexicans to party with him for the weekend." And I said, "I want to make that fucking movie. Can I make it?" And he goes, "Well, if I write it, And I said, "Well,
somebody's got to do it."
So then he sends me a draft, and I said, "I want to make this," and I started. That was 2005, 2004.
That's how long it takes to get some shit done and released. People have to realize not everything is born overnight. I mean, no. It's a labor of life, not even of love. It's a labor of life.
Yeah, seriously. I've got scripts that are 30 years old that I want to make. I don't know if I ever will, but and
I've got one that's 20 years old that I'll love to send you to see if you can make it. Go ahead. Good luck.
Send it my way,
I'll do it. We'll see what we can do. Please. So anyway, you had the story from 2005. You're thinking about it.
Yeah, I had the story, and it still was more money than I thought I could raise. And I had this other film that I was going to do about a family that goes through a cult, and then the dad comes out of the closet, and I almost got that made. And I spent 7 years, like a major, Hollywood actor wanted it, and the manager was dangling that carrot in front of me for 7 years, and I said,
fucking carrot danglers.
Fuck this, and I just said, I'm going to make something undefeatable that I can just make and take control of this, and not wait for someone else. And so,
but you did get I don't know what the budget was, but it looks really good.
In general, my stuff looks better. It looks more expensive than it is, but I think that's because I just have a background in visual art, which kind of helps. But well, and also this is a 2 for a 6-person film, and again, back to I love films that really focus in on. 3 is the perfect number. You have 6 in yours, but that's not bad. They're rarely in there at all times. Yeah, 3. I'm writing a 3. Writing one for 3 right now.
How did I get that out of your head? Trust the Witch.
Well, yeah.
Death in the Maiden is basically a 3. Like Repulsion is definitely. I mean,
Those are two phenomenal films.
They're like, even, okay, it's 4 people, and then it extenuates on, but Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yeah.
4 people, and then a few in the. This is, I mean, because they're like plays, and plays are very representative of real life when done well.
Yeah, for sure. I got the money. I made Bowie for like 20. I raised about $21,000, and I made.
What was that shot on? Was that shot on?
This was shot on the Bowie was shot on the Arri Alexa. It was my first digital project. I've gone back to Super 8. I'm doing Super 8
I
now.
love Super 8 is my absolute favorite format. That's
I know.
What I shot with Richard Crenna. It looks so beautiful.
I've heard you say that. Yeah, Richard and I are buddies. We spoke last week, in fact, and he's the one who convinced me to stop shooting black and white because it's old fashioned.
Oh, really? But unfortunately, it looks so fucking good, doesn't it? Yeah. Hello.
But I think he
old fashioned. Oh, color is modern.
I know.
Those are ridiculous.
Well, that's Richard. Richard's prone to making statements. He's a weirdo, but we love
him. We love him.
Oh God, yeah, he's such a mensch, But I said, okay, all right, you're on.
Was Bowie black and white?
Color.
Well, he told you this after you already were doing color.
yeah, but don't know. He told me this years ago when I did a film with Kember that was black and white, and he was like, "Yeah, too bad it wasn't color, dude." I'm like, "Well, I didn't have
but
white."
no. I mean, the thing with black and white is it is another dimension.
Totally, it's it looks not real.
It looks better. It just looks good.
I mean, not always, but it does help quite a bit a lot of the times.
I do love color. I'm seduced by it.
That's why I wear red just for you.
Well, that's my favorite color.
Ooh.
Pulling things right out of you, Steve. Wait till we meet. Whoa. Oh my God!
It has been since I was before I can remember.
Really?
I would just stare.
There's
at
only 3 colors: black, red, and white. If you ask me, but
those are the best combination right there. I made Bowie. And
what happened with that? So you made it, and then how do you even get it distributed or shown around? I mean, this is so difficult.
I got it into a couple of festivals, and that was it. Nothing happened with it. Nothing has happened.
So is it available now? Where is it?
No.
No wonder I haven't seen it.
Well, I can get you a copy.
All right, I can charge $5 at my apartment and maybe get about 10 other people to see it. I'm not sure. I'm just saying.
I think now that Earthlings has got a distribution deal, I think maybe these distributors seem like they're on the up and up.
So who's distributing Earthlings? Your latest?
Bounty Films, and they're out of Australia. Bounty, and they're distributing. My producer, she and another producer, they're dealing with their films, and they're getting their quarterly reports. They get them late, but they get them. And they get paid. So I'm like, all right. They're paying and they're giving you the reports, and they do sometimes, I mean, they've every now and then they'll I probably shouldn't be saying this. Oh my God, but they're really. What I'm trying to say is that they seem very, very cool. Actually.
Up and up.
I've been really happy with the dealings with them.
Well, that's what's great.
And I would not say it.
So where can people actually see? Is it playing at festivals, theaters?
No, I got no fest.
Can people send you $10 and then they can watch it?
No, it's on Amazon.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's on the evil Amazon. And it's got some other, it's going to be, I think there's a network interested in Australia, supposedly. So we'll see.
Australia is great. I go there often. Tim and I have gone there a few times. I was just there too. I'm going again next year. Of course, they know what they're doing.
Well, great music.
Great music, great everything.
The birthday party.
Come on. I mean, let's just stop right there. One of the best live bands until Nick Cave became an evangelical. Fuck off.
Well, we were talking about birds earlier. Australia's got a lot of incredible birds.
God.
Oh, how about the bin birds, which are like black and white storks that jump around the garbage cans?
What about the cassowary that has like these 8-inch dagger talons. They'll just stab you in the
Wild
neck.
turkeys
Yeah.
running around
They-
everywhere.
Those are used as
terrifying.
weapons, I think. The bones from the cassowary.
Oh,
right?
those things. Maybe I don't know that. It
I
makes
think
sense.
they were.
Those things are
But Tim,
terrifying.
excuse me, you did hug a koala.
I did.
You hugged a koala in spite of the fact they all have chlamydia, which I don't think you've ever had or admitted to, at least.
Well, I never got. I didn't catch any VD from a koala. But
how did it smell?
You know what? I was prepared for the whole like it's gonna be coarse feeling and smell bad. It was
soft
the
as a
fluffiest,
feather.
softest thing ever.
It was fluffier than me. Oh my god!
Well, I mean,
oh well, it has to be.
you're a fluffer like no one else. But
Well, that's true. I'm more of a fluffer than a fluffy.
yeah, correct.
Shit. So we're
But yes, Australia, yeah, great bands and great deadly animals and great cuddly soft animals too.
Surfing is good.
Oh yes,
food is amazing.
Well,
People are great.
So anyway,
luck.
hopefully I'll
Yeah.
get to go, but if I end up doing something down there, anyway, so
How do you feel on a 20-hour flight from Portland? Because we've done it many times. It's kind of you got to.
I hate flying. I'm tall, so flying sucks.
Oh well, you got to zone out. You just got to zone out.
Yeah,
It's brutal.
I try.
Do you have any other I wanted to say fetishes, but I meant fears. Same thing.
Oh God, yeah, I've got fears.
You have fears?
Yeah.
I've known it for 20 seconds of my life, so please inform. Fears of what? Death, life, people.
Dying. If you're flying, I'm not crazy about flying.
You drive, don't you?
Yeah, I know. The statistic thing. I tell myself that, but it's
it's a control thing.
It's a control thing. Yeah.
Well, I suggest you listen to Blood Rock, Texas band DOA. We were flying along and hit something in the air. Creepiest song about a plane crash ever. Maybe that'll cure or accelerate your fear.
I don't know. Maybe
lying, death. These are inevitable things.
Yeah, I know. I didn't say my fears are rational or healthy.
No, they usually are not. What about fetishes? That was my first. I mean, you don't have to reveal. I'll leave that for next.
I've got those. Yeah.
All right. You don't have to reveal right now. We'll talk about that over lunch next week, my friend.
All right.
We can exchange some of those concepts. I'm just saying.
All right. You're on.
Can't wait. So how did you get your films? Okay, so you were doing this stuff in New York with, very avant-garde characters, including David Warshner as Alan Vega, Canberra. And then how did what did the Museum of MoMA take, or Anthology Film Festival? Like, how did that even come about?
So Anthology, I've just screened films there. They don't have my work's not archived with them. It's archived with MoMA. And
how did that come about?
That came about because they were doing they did a show for Club 57, and Tessa Hughes Freeland.
Yep.
Yeah, she was part of that thing. And
so you were in New York at that period.
I was in New York at that period, although not I moved there after Club 57.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, well, I think they needed film, and there wasn't a lot, and they broadened the dates. So they invited, because I was making films in the 80s in New York, although I was not part of the Cinema Transgression. I was friends with those guys,
Where were you living then in New York?
11th and C.
12th and B, hello.
Yeah. Well, and David and Richard were living on 13th and B, I think.
Well, yeah, we were one block away. Richard Edson lived across the street from me. Thurston lived on 13th. We were all right in the vicinity of death and destruction.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was a beautiful thing.
It was amazing. It's kind of so, yeah, to walk around there now, it's just.
Well, you couldn't rent a toilet in an apartment for what I paid for my first two apartments, $75 and $150. No way. On the Lower East Side.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So who were you hanging around at? So that period, what were you doing? You're in New York. Hanging around with these underground,
I moved
super
there.
creatives.
I moved there with my friend Philip Zimmerman. Do you know his work? The paint artist,
I don't.
filmmaker. Oh my God. I'm going to give you his work.
Oh, please.
I'm going to
Thank
give
you.
you one of his books. He's he's an incredible filmmaker. He did a film with Kenneth Anger in it. It was the last thing Kenneth appeared in, and it's a the film is it's there's a scene that's missing from Invocation of My Demon Brother. So Philip recreated it, and the film itself is a spell, a magic incantation. It's wild.
Fantastic.
Philip's incredible.
Did you move to New York with him
I
both
moved
from
there with
Portland?
him, and I moved there with him. My friend Keith Davis introduced us to David. Actually, I met David before I moved to New York, and David and Keith Davis took me
David
to
Warnerowitz.
Warnerovich,
Yeah.
however you say his name.
Warnerowitz.
So we went to the pier, and I did some painting there with David. And I said, "Fuck art school! I'm dropping out. I'm moving here. This is cool."
Right. Yeah.
And so I
And by the
dropped
way, let's
out.
just talk about David Warnerowitz for a minute because
Love to.
he was a young runaway who became a hustler who did a lot of graffiti and paintings on the West Side piers when it was just totally a gay shopping center for
Right.
very devious things. And he was
Right.
also an incredible journalist, a writer, a photographer, and a visual artist
A
of the
street hustler,
high,
at the age
street
of
hustler.
9, right? I think it was
highest
9.
order. His
Yeah.
books, Close to the Knives, all of them, Memories That Smell Like Gasoline, Waterfront
Genius.
Journals, and his art, which was just incredible and very evocative of that period. He was just so incredible, and he knew his spoken word was so fast. He also had a band called Three Teens Kill Four. I did his last spoken word show with him at the Paula Deen Gallery, and he spoke
I
so
was there.
fast.
I was there.
Wow.
Yeah, there were hardly any people there. He's waving his arms,
Oh.
going, "I'm disappearing, but not fast enough."
Amazing.
And you read, I think you went first.
I don't care when I go, but I have no idea.
That was a fantastic. I mean, I'd seen you before, but to see you with David was like, I'd only seen you do music. In fact, the last show I saw in Portland before moving there was with you and Cliff Martinez. And
I was going to mention that before. So, Tim, I talked about this show. It was Thurwell, me, and Cliff Martinez. And Cliff Martinez had somebody in a 55-gallon drum.
Yeah.
And the police came because they thought somebody was being tortured, a woman. And the promoter rushes to the stage and says, "You got to stop the show." We go, "Oh, really? Cliff, you better roll that guy out."
Cliff was I thought he was like swinging something around on the end of a cable. I thought he might hit you in the head. I mean, that was a truly.
This was like based on Stinkfist and the Meltdown Oratorium with J.G. Thurwell. I wanted to mention that earlier, but now you brought it up. So
it was the last show I saw. It was a show I saw.
Well, that was a good
one.
one.
New York. It was good.
I think it was in a church or something.
It was.
So there you go. Satan Rising.
Northwest Portland. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. Great show. Yeah. And so we drove across the country a couple days later in a blizzard. Philip and I used to do this driveway where you could get a car. Someone needed a car driven across the country, and you call the company and say, I'm a driver. And they're like, "Okay, here's a car.
Take it away."
So I used to do that. And so that's how I got to New York. And by then I'd met David and befriended him. And he recommended me to the Civilian Warfare Gallery, so I started showing with them. I was making sculptures at the time and drawings, and then it was just a couple years later that I started making films again. I hadn't done that since I was little,
And Super 8 then at that time?
Super 8.
That was the format, and that should still be the format.
Yeah, I'm having a great time with it. I'm having
it's so
a great
beautiful.
time with it.
It's so beautiful.
Really fun, and and finally I'm doing films that would fit into the transgression. I'm doing films with nudity and blood and guts. So, and Super 8.
I don't know how you're taking a new stance on that, but I can't wait to see it.
40 years too late,
Well, really, time is one long second that goes on forever, in my opinion.
I told Richard Kern, I said, "Yeah, I just needed to wait long enough to copy you that no one would remember your work."
I don't understand how Kern has kept our work off of YouTube. It's amazing.
He's kept it off.
You cannot find any of that stuff, which is amazing.
True.
I don't know if he put like a some kind of lock zone on the DVDs, on the
Probably.
VHSs.
Well,
Genius.
Richard's always money
Driving
is
force.
driving force for Richard,
Well, and he found it by doing less than to my taste photos of normal chicks with dirty feet and big panties. Not my cup of tea, but whatever. Dirty old men shit. Well, he's master of it.
he's got some really funny stories about like Richard Prince wanted to use one of Richard's photos, so he gave him a whole bunch of like 100,000 or more, and then gave him
100,000
like
or more.
a
What?
serious amount of money, and he gave him one of the prints. They only made like an edition of 5, and he gave one to Richard. Richard's always coming out with money somehow.
I think he invested in something early on. I don't know whether it was Apple, Starbucks, or whatever, but
I wish he'd invest in one of my movies.
I wish he would invest in and how I fucking put him on the scene. Hello, motherfucker. Whatever. Come on. I was the best thing that ever happened to him.
You were good for him, for sure. But he speaks highly of you. He knows it. He speaks very highly of you.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for the check to arrive. Don't matter. No biggie. Nobody can buy that shit, so how can he pay me? It don't matter. I love Richard Kern. No, his was the top shit of that scene, let's face it. Bethan's Got Beat, they were the top shit.
They were great.
Richard was the top shit. And other than that, everybody else pretty much sucked, in my opinion, when making the horrible films. Richard had the look. He had the eye. He had the nerve, and he had me, which had the story.
Yeah.
There you go. Pop Pip in, Tim. I gotta take it.
What do you have to do?
Don't ask me. I'm
okay. All right.
Mansplaining.
So what's
Are you drinking tea or vodka there, Steve?
Me? I'm drinking water. I had a beer first because I was nervous.
Oh.
You're also nervous. Oh, that's got to end.
What's your beer?
Get rid of that in you immediately when we're meeting for lunch next week.
Are you in the Pacific Northwest? I mean, are you into hippie beers? Or are you into like?
No,
I hate those things.
No, fuck no. And IPA is in fact, this was a line that was in Earthlings. We cut it out because it was falling flat. But IPA is the beef jerky of beers, and
it's kind of like
it's a preservative. They used all those hops not because it tasted good, but just so they could make the travel from England to India. It was a preservative.
Yeah, right. No, I get it. Yeah.
So one beer calms you down.
Totally
one beer is all it takes to calm you down.
It helps.
Damn. You're easy.
Yes,
that's true.
I'm always calm. I'm always calm. I'm as calm as they come. I just seem hyper. I am never rattled. I'm a rattler, but I'm never rattled.
This will go up probably on Friday, but it is Lydia's birthday today.
Oh, no, it was yesterday.
You know what? I knew that. That was yesterday.
So what? Every day is my birthday. No big
deal.
No,
happy birthday. I was going to say thank you for Bruce. Bruce was posting you tributes to you all yesterday.
No, I don't follow any of the fucking social media shit. No, I got people to do my stuff. I don't look at it. I don't care. The only person I follow is Mr. Buck Naked, a hairless cat out of LA. I don't follow anybody. I'm 2 steps ahead of myself. How can I follow anybody?
Happy birthday.
Belated.
Thank you, because every day is my birthday.
And it's also the Marquis de Sade's birthday.
Well, yes, and you know what? We share a lot in common.
Well, the
philosophy mostly.
Have you seen the new Bruce movie?
No.
We were invited. I still haven't seen it yet. He had some premieres just like a month ago.
But let's go back to Dave.
To David?
No, to you.
Oh.
So what films you're a kid. What you doing as a kid? Is film inspiring you when you were very young?
Oh yeah. I started making films when I was 7. And I couldn't decide between. At that age, I knew I wanted to either be an artist or a filmmaker, and I didn't know which to do. I was pursuing both just as a child.
7.
At 7, and I was drawing, and I was crazy about it. And
how did you get your camera? What was your first?
My dad bought it for me.
What did he buy you?
He bought me a little GAF Super 8 camera. My neighbor had one, and I made a film with it. And my dad was like, "Oh, the kid likes to do something.
Yeah, keep
Okay,
him busy.
keep him busy." So, I started making films, and a little horror, stuff,
At
blood.
7, you're into horror, of course.
Oh
It
yeah,
happens.
yeah. Well, I'd seen, the most frightening film at the age of 7. It scared the shit out of me, and it still scares me.
What?
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh, I forgot
Uh,
about.
Scared the shit out of me. I'm 7. I couldn't sleep
Was it
after
Abbott
that.
Costello or Frankenstein that was scary?
It was just
It was very silly. I've seen that thing.
it's so silly, but it's
When
like
you're 7, come on.
they don't,
Scared.
like he doesn't realize, Abbott doesn't realize that, or Costello doesn't realize that this monster's right behind him, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid, and I was obsessed and just
Because
started
the monsters are right behind us. They're under the bed.
They
They're in
are.
the attic. They're in the basement. They're all around. They're actually in our mother and father often. They're
Yeah,
everywhere.
Thank
So,
you.
all right. So after Abbott and
Hello.
Costello, what are you into horror films? I mean, I'm really
Oh, God,
I'm a prickly horror person. It has to really be. I'm brutal about what I want to see. But go ahead.
I loved that stuff as a kid. I got deep. I loved it, and I watched. We had, Sinister Cinema. It's like kind of like Ghastly or whatever,
Yeah, of
like a
course.
local thing,
Right.
with
Crypt
and,
Keeper, right?
yeah, real low budget kind of thing. And so I'd watch that.
Did
And
they
by
have
the time-
drive-ins in Portland?
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh
sure.
God.
Drive-ins were
No,
the best.
And that is like, I remember just like driving in the back of my parents' station wagon. It's like rainy, and you're looking through the window, and there's like this huge screen, right? Like
I was
floating
going to say
above.
it rains so much up there that
Yeah, we'd watch them in the rain, but you're just driving along, and there's a screen, and it's like a fucking scene from The Damned, just
Right.
floating up above these suburban houses.
Drive-ins showed some horrific shit.
incredible.
I mean, Last House on the Left, other things like
Oh,
that.
you
They
saw
were-
that in a drive-in? That's funny.
Of course I did.
Yeah,
I
saw
think I was
cannibal
about
movies
14.
and
Oh, yeah.
cannibal movies and
The
drive-ins and
Cannibal
stuff.
Holocaust, all that shit was at drive-ins.
Yeah.
Where else could they show?
Yeah. So
Family entertainment.
so I love the horror stuff and sci-fi. I love the sci-fi stuff. And then when I started making films as an adult, I was doing like my first films I was making were like, just kind of psychedelic, kind of fake sci-fi, melting face, kind of trippy, undecipherable meaning type noise music soundtrack stuff.
Were you doing the soundtracks?
No.
Somebody
No,
else was, yeah.
no violence, no sex, no violence. I was not. I filmed for other people who were using those elements.
But
in their
my
work.
question was, did you do the soundtracks?
No.
Okay.
No.
You
No,
jumped right to
no,
sex and violence.
No. The sex and violence, that's more what I'm up to now. But
About time.
But for some reason,
Can you be a little bit more explicit or specific?
it just seems.
What's the
appropriate.
vein of this?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm working on them now, and it's kind of emerging, but it seems appropriate. And I just feel this impulse to make films that are violent and with nudity, and so that's what I'm doing.
Because you're a contrarian.
I don't know why.
A lot of horror movies have that combination. I mean, horror movies have lots of sex and violence. Although you like the hybrid.
I love the Hammer stuff. The vampire Hammer stuff was like, those films were just
Beautifully shot.
phenomenal. Oh God, so beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. And
So-
black and white, most, a lot of them.
A lot of them. Well, they also had color. Vampire Lovers is color. Vampire Kiss is color. But
have you ever seen the book House of Psychotic Women by Kayla Janice, which is an amazing anthology of women portrayed in horror films and how that has changed? Really recommend it. She's been on the podcast before. She's like a queen of dissecting horror, and she really well researched, 10 years in the making. But it's also horror movies in the way that they referenced her life or impacted her life, and the way that the women and the victimization had changed from like victims to the victimizers to, insane. I really recommend it. House of Psychotic Women. You can get it on our favorite shopping bookstore, Powell's or Amazon. Ask Powell's if they have it.
Psychotic Women.
House of Psychotic Women. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. I'm getting it.
Great. Ordering it as we speak. I love that.
Well, I'm writing it down.
All right, that's good enough.
Yeah, so I
So are you shooting in black and white Super 8 again now?
not yet. Color.
Oh, colors.
I'm doing some of the stuff I'm doing. I'm working with a guy, and I've asked him to do some experimental process. He's processing it, and I'm asking him to push it into kind of some experimental type of processing techniques in order to get some
something else out of it.
Something else, and it's working out really well. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty inspired about it.
It's more like experimental painting on film.
Yeah.
It's violence and sex.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Anybody doing the music for that? Not yet.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, yes, somebody will, but I'm talking to a guy who I met through a friend. He's a New Zealand he's a musician from New Zealand. And he's got a well, I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about it. It's in the works.
We're gonna meet on Sunday, and we'll see where we go.
Sure.
You know, but so far we're enjoying working together.
Plotting the big takeover of the underground, which no longer exists because it's been shut out.
Yeah, and co-opted. You know,
homogenized.
Yeah, totally.
What are some of your favorite, like, I wouldn't say mainstream, but bigger budget films? I mean, like, I will say mine, like Natural Born Killers, Touch of Evil.
Big budget.
Well, I mean, you know, we're just more mainstream.
RoboCop.
I loved RoboCop. My very favorite filmmaker, my favorite director is Ozu, the Japanese filmmaker. He's my favorite director of all time. Probably, I can say this after having watched his films for going on 30 years now. I just keep coming back to him. You know, I love, I guess of the mainstream stuff, Todd Haynes' film Safe, I think is a complete masterpiece. One of the best films of the past 35 years, and will remain one of the best films ever made, I think. Probably. I mean, up there. Always something to mention. Love Todd's work. What other mainstream stuff?
Are there any actors that are out there that you think, oh yeah, I'd really like to work with them? Because that's difficult. Because I mean, there's, you know.
I think so many actors are so fucking brilliant. The problem is the directors don't trust them. They don't understand them. They don't know how to they don't understand that actors have the fucking greatest intuition. And the directors are just like, I've got this idea. I want you to do it.
I think The Joker, #1 with Joaquin Phoenix, was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen that one.
Well, you should, because it's grand.
So much to see out there.
Well, that's, you know, that's why there's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Did
David Wojnarowicz ever sleep?
I don't know. I never slept with him, but I never sleep either. So maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I have no idea.
Because I find like the output of some people just blows me away. I am not that person. I don't have.
Look, there is not a comparative quantity. There's only comparative quality. I can take it back to Hubert Selby. 4 great books, 2 kind of shitty ones. How many more did he have to write in his 70 years? You know. It's not how much you do, it's quality of what you do. Some are just more awake than others.
Yeah. Agreed. Other mainstream,
Christian Bale, The Machinist.
Christian Bale's incredible.
The Machinist, American Psycho,
American
Vice.
American Psycho was amazing. I'm kind of drawing blanks.
What do you think of Don? What do you think of Don Knotts? What do you think of Don Knotts?
I love Don Knotts.
Fucking
reluctant astronaut, Mr. Limpet, the incredible Mr. Limpet, Don Knotts, the Ghost and Mr. Chicken, another fucking frightening film. Scared the shit out of me.
Was that with like Tim Conway, or is that no?
I think Tim Conway might.
I prefer Don Rickles, but Tim knows.
Don Rickles is incredible.
Yeah.
Jack Lemmon, fucking genius. And so Betty Davis.
Absolutely.
Katharine Hepburn. I mean, Cary Grant. I mean, I love the classic. I mean, I love the American
noir. I mean, early
noir stuff. All that.
Untouchable.
Oh God.
How about Ida Lupino being one of the first female? Ida Lupino being one of the first female directors. I mean, in noir, absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant actor and director. Yeah. A lot of
Robert Mitchum.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of those.
What's the film he did? He did the film where
Cape Fear. We did also
Out of the Past. The dialogue in that film, it's all like questions. It's like, who are you? Who wants to know? It's like all this like banter.
Night of the Iguana.
Oh, it's a great film.
Black and white again.
Yeah, really? No, I like John Huston. I love the John Huston stuff.
Just talking the other night about Fat City with Stacy Keach and Jeff Bridges and Susan Tyrrell, a lost American, fabulous actress.
Fantastic
Too much for Hollywood.
Yeah,
Fat City's a great film.
That's a great film. I watched it. Probably 2 years ago. I hadn't seen it for quite a while.
Well, that period, early 70s films, which of course, Scorsese dominated, but there were other great ones. Did you ever see I was just going to say Mickey and Nicky with John Cassavetes and Peter Falk.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Directed by Elaine May, directed by a comedy director.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Any of the Cassavetes films.
Yeah, all of them.
How about The Killing of a Chinese Bookie?
It's a fucking masterpiece.
Unbelievable.
Masterpiece. When he goes and he's like, he's on his way to kill the guy. And he has to stop at a phone booth and he's saying, what number are they doing? Are they doing anything? I can't give you anything but love, baby. And he's like, and then he ends up singing it. You don't know it? Okay, it goes like this. And he starts singing the song. And he's on his way to go kill this guy.
But that short period, I'd say between like 69 and 74, there were so many amazing roughneck films, and some of the first films of directors that became really huge did some of their best work then. Harvey Keitel, Fingers, Who's That Knockin', etc.
Yeah. Do you go to the theater anymore? Do you actually go to a movie theater anymore?
No, I usually fall asleep. I need to go to movies at 2 a.m. because I'm an insomniac. I can't sleep at night. I sleep.
Hey, hello, me either, but I like to watch forensics at that hour. But I like to go, if I ever go to the movies, the last time I went to the movies, it was at 1 p.m. to see The Joker, and there were only 2 other people there.
That's the best time for me to see a film is during the day.
Yeah. But at middle of the night, I'm just on forensics.
Middle of the night, I can't do it. Or middle of the night I could, or during the day, but not at 7.
No, I don't like it then.
In the theater.
I just saw a great 9-episode British crime drama. Usually I like only true crime, called Department Q, which is on Netflix. And I have to say, it is.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about that.
It's really good. I mean, my favorite is still True Detective season 1, McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. I'll stop right there. I don't give a shit about the other episodes, but season 1, amazing.
That was amazing. I love Prime Suspect with Helen Mirren. Now, there's somebody I like.
That was good. And I am a freak of early Vincent D'Onofrio. That would be Law and Order.
Yeah.
Criminal Intent, which I have an incredible amount of. Anyway, stay with Earthlings, now making the rounds somewhere on Amazon. Did you say it's on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, yeah.
Earthlings, a slice of life about dickism and racism and just daily life, now showing And I'm so happy to have had you on this
No,
episode. And I will be seeing you next week, my friend.
I look forward to it.
It's
Thank you
going to
so
be a lot
much.
of fun.
So I really appreciate you guys having me on.
oh well, we're psyched to have you.
Seriously. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. I'm going to
All
send
right.
you the stuff I promised you in a few minutes.
Okay, great.